Everyone knows that we here at SwitchWatch love a good import. Either the good, the bad, or the ugly, we do what we can to tell you about some of the delights or detestables that are ripe for importing on your Nintendo Switch. Honestly, the region-free coding on the Switch has been a blessing for our gaming experience, but a nightmare for our bank accounts. And we're not stopping anytime soon, because as much as we would like to cover every single upcoming game that's primed and ready for import, that's not always possible. And so to make sure you guys don't miss a thing, we've put together a list of many upcoming exciting games that may only be possible to get your physical mitts on via import from the East. Because let's face it, publishers in Japan and Asia general treat their customers far nicer than they do here. So yeah, here are the imports that we are most excited about. With all of these imports, if any takes your fancy, then I'll pop a link below as to where you can find them, in the description and pinned comment. They are affiliate links which help us out majorly. We use pretty much every penny to reinvest into the channel, either to buy obscure import games to review like Dead or School, or purchase software and equipment to make our content better. As you may hear, I've recently upgraded my audio setup, which wasn't cheap, but was only made possible by you guys with your amazing support. So if you're going to buy any of these games anyways, consider using our links to support us. Anyways, let's start off with a strong bit of nostalgia. Dragon Quest is having quite a bit of a buzz around it these days. Alongside the incredibly hyped Nintendo Switch version of Dragon Quest XI, we're also getting treated to a physical release of Dragon Quest 1, 2 and 3 in one little package for an affordable price. Unfortunately, so far it's only being announced for Asia. Sure, you can get these ports on your phone for a bit cheaper, but having the box in your hands with a lovely physical cartridge is not one we can turn down. Plus, Dragon Quest belongs on a Nintendo system. It's currently unknown if Square Enix will produce a Western release. I'm confident of a digital release, but for physical, I'm leaning towards a no. But maybe a small chance. If you want to forego chance, you can hit yourself up with an Asian copy which has English available. That baby is mine. You know that we love a good shmup here at SwitchWatch. Usually me and Juan have to fight each other as to who gets to review them, and we'll be doing the same for Ghostblade, which arrives in October. Not only digitally, but physically too, as a Play Asia exclusive. Interestingly, this one was released to decent acclaim on the Wii U. I remember back in the day when I had my own little channel, I was practically begging for a review code, but never got one, which made me a sad Jordan. Anyways, at least now I can pick it up physically and try it for myself if one ends up stealing the review code. There are actually two editions, just like with most Play Asia exclusives. You have the standard edition, which is just the box and a cartridge, which is what I'm personally all about, but I do admit the limited edition looks tempting. You get the game, box, a steel book, an actual manual, a soundtrack, and a certificate all wrapped up in a nice collector's box. So tempting. These are expected to ship close to the end of the year, but the game will be available digitally earlier. Alright, time for an ad break? Yeah. The Gunvolt series is quickly becoming synonymous with high-end, quality 2D action games. It's the modern-day Mega Man in terms of renown and prestige, and the latest in the series is hitting the Switch very soon. Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X may be a daft title, but the gameplay most certainly won't be. Now, you may be aware that this is receiving a Western release physically, but only under limited run games. However, the Asian release is not limited, but it also has English on the cartridge. Sure, you can go with limited run if you want to, but personally, I'd always choose the alternative option given the chance. And who knows, if you're watching this from the future and the pre-order is over, don't worry, the Asian copy may still be available. Juan recently covered River City Girls in his extremely enthusiastic review of this instant beat-em-up classic, but did you know that aside from its limited run games release, it's also getting an Asian release with English on the cartridge? If you didn't get your pre-order in, then don't worry, you can still get the same awesome release through importing with very little extra cost, perhaps even a little cheaper if including shipping if you're based outside of the US. Anyways, check out Juan's review to see how awesome it is and find out for yourself if you want to import a physical copy. In the same series, we have a bit of a retro blast from the past. River City Melee Mac is an arena brawler that's an update of River City Melee Battle Royale Special, which released a few years ago. It's kind of like Smash Bros or Power Stone, you know the kind, but with dudes from the River City games. It's sporting a mix of retro sprites and 3D environments, and it looks cool as 4 people bash it out with dozens of characters, moves and items. Plus, you can battle it out online. It's really cheap too, especially for an import, and I can't say no to that. I guess there's a chance of a Western release, but I don't think anything has been announced so far. It's not the only retro release in the series to be exclusive to Asia. The Kunio-kun, the World Classics Collection, was released in Japan too, which was a retro compilation of some of their earlier titles. Also had English included. Check that out as a bonus entry for this list. Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? Is it wrong that I want to buy this game on the name alone? Now that is some awesome marketing. I mean, I don't even want to know what the gameplay is like, I'm getting it. Jokes aside, this is an action RPG based on the manga or anime. I'll admit, I'm not an expert, but I'm incredibly hopeful about this one. There's both a standard edition plus a limited edition, which includes an adventurer's handbook, which is kind of like a guidebook, and probably an art book together. You get a soundtrack CD. You even get an extra game. Yes, you get another game with the limited edition. Danmachi the Shooting wa Machigaretu Doka. I don't know how to say that name, to be honest. It's Japanese and massive. But I know it's a shoot 'em up, so count me in. I don't know what the chances of this receiving a Western release are, but if I'm being honest, I guess it's possible. It looks like something NIS America or P-Cube may pick up, so just be a little cautious with that if you really do prefer a Western version. But the link for the import version I've put in the description. That has English, so for me, it's not a big deal. I own games from all around the world, and I think that's cool. I also want to give a quick shout out to Panty Party, a game I reviewed a good while back it feels, and it's surprisingly getting a physical release as a Play Asia exclusive and was available to pre-order from a while back, but it's supposedly ready to ship at any moment, perhaps even before I've published this video. Go check out my review to see something rather silly and not as bad as you think it may be. I just love the fact something so weird and indie is getting a physical release. It's totally not needed, but I love it. In the limited edition, you get all sorts of weird stuff, including a pair of panties. How can you go wrong? An even quicker shout out to Play Asia exclusive release, Ghost 1.0 and UnEpic, 2 games in one that have been up for pre-order for a while, but now are ready to ship this October time. If you want to check out our review of Ghost 1.0, then be sure to do so. And if it takes your fancy, there's a standard edition as well as a limited edition with some extra goodies. Esperadisai. Look, I don't know how to say it properly, but can you blame me? Now this is for the hardcore of the hardcore shmup fans. Ported by the Legends M2, this is a resuscitation of the hardcore arcade shooter from 1998. I'll be honest, I've not heard of it, but watching the trailer, count me in, baby. The problem is that it's incredibly expensive for a shooter. Both the standard edition and the limited edition come at a far more premium price than a usual game. Like I said, this is only for the true hardcore shmup fans or collectors. Another shooter that fans may want to keep an eye out for is the granddaddy of them all, Space Invaders. Yes, Space Invaders is getting a release on the Nintendo Switch in compilation form, thanks to its owner Taito, who are seemingly wanting to bring back their old stuff, as we saw with the Darius collection, and just recently Ninja Saviors, which James reviewed a couple of weeks ago. With currently 8 games announced for the collection, the price seems fairly hefty even for the standard edition, not to mention the eye-watering limited edition, which, if it's anything like the Darius collection, will probably have already been sold out. I mean, it includes a board game for God's sake, plus extra games, I think. I'm guessing only the true hardcore collectors will go for this one, and it's a little bit risky since there is still time for a Western version to be announced. I think an eShop release in the West is very likely, although a physical, not sure. Taito did a physical for Ninja Savior in the West, but not for the Darius collection. But I think the Space Invaders brand name alone might make it get pushed physically. Who knows though? Either way, Western or Japanese release, you're getting the most classic arcade game of all. Right, I've been building up to the last couple of games, perhaps saving the best until last. You guys may remember that I reviewed Super Robot Wars T, an absolutely awesome, stunning turn-based strategy game featuring the coolest battle animations ever. I was enamored. It was my first taste of the series, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be my last. Well, I need not worry because we're getting a double barrel shotgun blast with 2 games that preceded it. In October, we have Super Robot Wars V, and later on, we'll be getting Super Robot Wars X, and oh my god, I cannot wait. I know these releases are probably incredibly similar to each other. I'm sure assets are reused and such, but my body is ready. I mean, I might as well throw Fire Emblem out of the window because even if the gameplay is better there, Super Robot Wars absolutely kills it in terms of style and general awesomeness. Now, these games don't come cheap, but I truly feel they are worth it if you're into classic anime, mech, and strategy games. Don't worry, the links I put down will have English on the cartridge. Man, that's a lot of good stuff to empty your bank account to. Which ones are you guys going to pick up? I actually hope you don't say them all. There's a lot to think about. And of course, if you're going to pick some of them up, consider using our affiliate links while you're at it. We'd massively appreciate it. Now perhaps head over to watch some of our individual reviews of those games primed and ready to import. I'll pop a playlist for you to peruse if these games just aren't enough to make your bank account manager worried. I've been Jordan from SwitchWatch, and I'll see you next time.